Hello, I'm Annie Mazes from Workman Publishing. I am joined today for this episode of Bite Size Book Buzz by Lainey Mays from HarperCollins, Laura Keefe from Bloomsbury, Nicole DeJacmo from Quirk Books, and Rachel Berquist from Simon & Schuster. Take it away, Lainey.
Hi, thanks, Annie. Like Annie said, I'm from HarperCollins, and so happy to be here just to see all of our library marketing friends, but I hope everybody's doing okay. So today, the book I want to talk about is The Lost and Found Bookshop by Susan Wiggs. Here's the image of the cover. It's such a lovely, striking image. And we all are big fans. Librarians love Susan Wiggs, but also Susan Wiggs loves librarians. She's a big advocate, and she comes to conferences, and it really, truly is a love fest. So, and this book in particular, her latest, is a book about books, and right now we all need that. So that's what we're escaping into. And if you aren't familiar, Susan Wiggs has written over 50 books. She's a New York Times bestselling author. She started off with these really great romances and has just become this superstar. And she's really known for her heartfelt characters and just really sweet stories, but a lot of insight as well. And then, so I'm going to stop sharing. Come back to me. Hi. So in this story, we have Natalie Harper, whose mom owns a bookstore in San Francisco. And after a really terrible, tragic accident, she is left the bookstore and her aging grandfather to take care of. And so when she goes back to San Francisco, not only does she have all this responsibility, but it kind of increases and gets a lot harder when she realizes that the bookstore has been through a lot of hard times and she didn't know about it, and there's a lot of repairs that need to be made, a lot of people who are coming in and leaving and not buying books, and also her grandfather has really started declining in health. So it's a lot to be put on someone, and she really finds that maybe she has to sell the store, maybe she has to put her grandfather in a facility that can take care of him, but he makes it a little harder by saying that it's in his name and he doesn't want to sell it. It's a family store. This building has been in the family for years, and that's not going to happen. So now she's not only stuck with all of this responsibility, but now a really terrible decision of what to do and how to come to terms with that. But what's really sweet is that she reconnects with all of these old stories from her past. And, you know, you read it and you feel these feelings she feels from these childhood authors that made her feel so warm and loved and understood. And so, you know, it kind of gets meta in that way because you feel very loved by her being loved by these characters, and you really feel those emotions with her. But then also because it's Susan Wiggs, you have a fun love story. So we have Peach Gallagher, who is going to fix the store, and he's there to help. But it's great for book clubs. Like I said, so much insight, heartfelt, and you feel really warm, like you're wrapped in a warm blanket when you're reading it. And I think that's what we all really need right now. So I hope you find comfort in it as much as Natalie does in her favorite books.
Hi, I'm Laura from Bloomsbury. I have a slightly darker book to share with you today. This is a literary thriller with a true crime inspiration by a debut author, Nicola Maye Goldberg. Nicola is a former independent bookseller, and she took the inspiration for this story from school. She went to Bard College in sort of central New York State and lived in a house that was referred to locally as the murder house. And she got curious about this story, and she did some digging, and it turns out that there had been a murder of a college student in the 90s nearby, but not in the house itself. And at the same time, a local serial killer was actually operating unrelated to the murder that inspired this story. So she manages to tie all of these together. We have some incredible praise for this book. We have a great quote from Megan Abbott. Leslie Jameson loves it. So if that gives you some sense of who might like this book, it's perfect. And I will stop sharing my screen and just give you a little bit of my pitch for it here. This is told from a variety of viewpoints, ranging from a morbid housewife who discovers the dead body of a young co-ed from the local university in a small town in upstate New York, to the junior reporter who senses its connection to a local serial killer, to a young girl who used to be babysat by the woman who was murdered. But she inhabits each of these characters so completely, and each chapter is told from this new viewpoint. And so you're just completely gripped as the story unfolds, given all the people who are involved in it as it goes on. It's highly original. It's completely gripping. It has an incredible ending that's very surprising. We just got a great book list review, and the reviewer said it has an astonishing, quote, "Did I miss something?" ending. So a gripping true crime read, comes out in June. You can get it on NetGalley or on Edelweiss, and I would love to hear what you think about it. So that's it for me.
Hi, this is Nicole from Quirk Books. I am just going to quickly share my screen with you all. As you probably, there we go. As you probably know from Quirk, we are becoming more and more known for our horror. And I'd like to thank the librarians who nominated Grady Hendrix's Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires as the #1 library reads pick for April. And introduce you to a different kind of horror, Bites of Terror, 10 Frightfully Delicious Tales by Cuddles and Rage. Cuddles and Rage are the team, the husband and wife team behind, Liz and Jimmy Reed, the husband and wife team behind Cuddles and Rage, a world full of disturbingly cute stories with heart. What began as a webcomic turned into dioramas and into this book of 10 short stories. As you can see from the examples that I'm sharing, all of these stories are based off of food and food puns and are hilarious but dark at the same time. But if you look really closely, you can tell that these are little molded figurines of food themselves. And the authors create all of these figures, they create the backdrops, and then they photograph them to tell the story. If you ever are interested in kind of like checking out some more of this, you can definitely follow them on Instagram, and they have lots of videos and different shots, process shots and videos of how they make these tiny little creations and then photograph them. So about the book, these are darkly funny horror stories that are shared as a graphic novel of hand-sculpted dioramas. In the same vein as Tales from the Crypt, there's the Cake Creeper, who cordially invites you for a delicious and diabolical feast, where he'll serve you a slice of tasty terror. It's a gleefully macabre anthology of cautionary tales. You meet an ice cream cone who regrets a wish granted by a sinister salesman, quarantine strawberry trying to escape a deathly mold outbreak, which is very timely, and a widowed watermelon dying to regrow her husband from a seed, which you can see from that bottom, reap what you sow. In the tradition of Tales from the Crypt and other classic horror comics, Bites of Terror presents a tasty combination of horror and human that reflect the human condition. And then beyond just that, I wanted to quickly let you know that Quirk has a lot of resources that you can get on our website, and then also we have digital review copies available on NetGalley or Edelweiss. And over to Rachel once I stop sharing my screen. Sorry, guys.
No worries. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Berquist, and I'm a marketing assistant with the education and library team at Simon & Schuster. Today, I'm here to talk to you about the Book of Last Names by author Kristin Harmel. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Inspired by an astonishing true story from World War II, the Book of Lost Names is about the bravery of a young graduate student named Eva Traub Abrams. In 1942 Paris, Eva's father, a Polish-Jewish immigrant, is arrested by the Nazis. To avoid the same fate, Eva and her mother are forced to flee. They find refuge in a small mountain town, and Eva is recruited to forge identity documents for children escaping to Switzerland. Eva struggles to erase their identities and decides to preserve the real names of the children. The record she keeps becomes the Book of Lost Names. Ooh, sorry. About 60 years later, the Book of Lost Names is found, and researchers are mystified about the code it contains. Eva knows she's the only one who has the answer and realizes she must confront the past she so desperately wanted to leave behind in order to reunite those lost during the war. As we all know, we're going through a really difficult moment in our history, and sometimes it can feel hopeless. But we must remember that we have been through worse and we have survived. This novel is a powerful reminder that in the darkest of times, the best of people is revealed. This story is a beautiful portrayal about heroism in the face of true adversity, and it's the kind of book that I believe we need right now, and we need to read. The Book of Lost Names is on sale July 21st. It's going to be published by Gallery Books, and it is currently available on NetGalley and Edelweiss. And I really hope you have the opportunity to read it.
Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you to the presenters. It is such a privilege week after week to be able to listen to everybody talk about these wonderful books. I think this is a great mix of titles, something for everybody. And we're going to continue making bite-sized book buzzes so we can all be together during this pretty tricky time. We hope you're staying well, and we will see you next week. Thank you.